Welcome to Southwest Yard and Garden. I'm John White. Today we're going to be talking about kind of a timely subject, and that's container gardens and the fall of the year. And one of the things that happens as we begin to cool off and go into the month of October here in November, a lot of our container plants that can be frost damaged, we need to start bringing those in. And with those, a lot of times we bring in critters, insects, spiders, different things that may have made their home in the container. So I have a asparagus fern here that it's a little bit overgrown. You can see some of the little kind of potatoes that grow. These are just storage organs that are on the plant to help give it a little drought tolerance. It'll help hold moisture in there. But a lot of times insects will enter the container from down here at the bottom on some of the drain holes. And when you're repotting the plants, if you aren't repotting them in the spring and putting little pieces of screening across them, insects can get into these. And a lot of times when you take the plant inside your home, you'll have a lot of sow bugs and maybe some garden centipedes and stuff come out into the house. So we want to, at this time of year, with our plants going inside, we want to repot the plants. So we want to talk a little bit about repotting the plant materials, and also some of our plants that are more frost susceptible, like say geranium. If you have it in some planters that you really can't bring the planter in, but you like the plant a lot, it gave you a lot of good color and stuff. Some of the things you can do, of course, is to cover them and try and get them through the winter, or you can simply take a cutting of that geranium and root it out, and then you'll have another plant started for next year, so you can keep it alive in the house and then plant it out next spring. So if we were going to take a cutting, we'll just go in with a sharp knife, move some of this, we'll come in, make a cutting. So we've cut the branch off. We have a smooth cut across the bottom of the material. We want to use a rooting hormone, and this is a product that you can get from several different companies. Here's another one that's on the market. And then finally, here's another product that's on the market. So we're going to use a rooting hormone, and what this does is help the plant to put roots out. And we aren't going to dip the material right into the container. We want to put it out and then just slightly dip it so that we have the powder on the end of it, and that'll help. There is some hormone material in here, and that'll help this cutting to put out roots. So if we're going to take a container, we want to fill it with some soil. And it can be a flatter container than this one, but we're going to fill it with soil, kind of tamp the soil down, and then with our finger we're going to make a hole. We're not going to use the cutting itself to push in, because you'll damage the end here, so we're going to make a hole with the finger and then just simply push the soil around it and then go ahead and water. And a lot of our plants we can start from cuttings at this time of year. We want to use what we call a little bit of a semi-hardwood cutting, so it's not the real succulent tip, but it's a little bit harder material on the end, and we're going to put that in. We can cover this with plastic or with a old mayonnaise jar over the top that helps to keep humidity in, and that'll help that to root even faster. But that's one way you can take care of some of your favorite plants and keep them going on the inside. Now, here's a fern that was asparagus fern that was taken out of a pot. You can see it has a lot of roots. Here's some of those storage organs. Again, this can possibly damage outside, so we're going to again come in and pot this one up inside. This one is a self-watering pot, so we're going to put the mix in here and take our asparagus fern, kind of tease a little bit of the soil loose so that the roots are sticking out. Place it in the pot and then fill back in with with our potting mix. So all that's covered good. We want to leave an edge somewhere about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch on the edge so that we can, when we water, we'll have water to go in here. So when we first start it, we are going to water it from the top, and then after that it'll be watered from the bottom. So right now we're just wetting it to get the soil wet and get it put in. And then we'll go ahead and this particular pot again, since it's self-watering, we'll just put water in it. But now's the time to repot some of your container plants that have been outside, clear out the bugs and stuff that might have gotten into the bottom of it, put it in a fresh pot. Again, you can either bump the size or just shave some of the roots off and replant it. So that's one of the things that we can do this time of year. So hopefully those are some quick tips that'll make you a more successful container gardener.